Welcome to Alan Berry Reports TV. I'm your host, Alan Berry Labucan from AlanBerryReports.com. Today we have a new installment of our In the News show. This is the show where we talk about resource companies with recent developments. And today we have two companies to talk about. One is involved with gold, and the other is a copper-focused company. But before we get started, we're going to last show we did our first sort of market commentary prior to talking about resource companies. We're going to follow that format again today. But before we get started, we always like to start out with our thank yous. If you're we use youtube.com as our primary website to produce and broadcast these shows so you can watch them at your leisure. And YouTube's a great website for anybody that's interested in doing online shows, and we highly recommend them. Then also, if you're watching the show on our website, you'll notice to the left and right of me that we have banner sponsors. Those banner sponsors are really important in us being able to bring these shows to you. And if you'd like to do some homework on those companies, their banners are direct link to their website, so it makes it really easy for you to click on those banners. Takes you to their website where you can do a bunch of homework. And also, to you, the viewers, you give us an audience to talk to about commodities, resource stocks, and the markets, and various other things, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much for tuning in. As I mentioned, we'll now get into our market commentary. Just for any new viewers and older viewers, when I'm looking at the camera, or often I'm looking off camera, that's because I don't have a one of those what do you call prompts so that I can read off of those. I read off of notes in my computer, or when I'm talking about companies, I'm also talking about what the information on their websites are. And so that if it's distracting, that's what I'm looking off camera is at my notes. And just wanted to get that straight for new viewers. And so on that note, I'm going to now bring up my notes on my commentary. On our the last show that we had, we did our a market commentary, and on that show we talked about what was going on with the gold market. We had mentioned some of the reasons why we felt that gold was in sort of bottoming and primed for the next rally upwards. And we seem to have got pretty close to the bottom on since it made record highs. There's been some profit taking, and we were thinking that it was looking oversold and primed to bottom and then rally off of there. Looks like we got that bottom somewhere around the 13 range, and now it's come up from there pretty nicely, and we think that this is the start of the next leg up. The main reasons for that is the basics of supply and demand fundamentals. There's long-term underspending on the supply side, strong demand. This is a recipe for commodities to go higher. We're not just seeing this in gold. We're also seeing it in silver, oil, uranium, copper, and other commodities that have very good supply and demand fundamentals as well. In fact, we made our bullish calls on several of these commodities and other assets in our Outlook 2011 show. If you're watching the show on our website and you look above me, you'll see a shows section. If you look for the January 12th, 2011 show, that was the one that we did our Outlook 2011 on. And so you can click on that and find that show. And basically, the recent action in the markets are adding to our confidence of the calls that we made in the Outlook 2011 report. Gold and silver look well positioned, as I said earlier. Often gold and silver move in sort of the same direction. We felt for the last year and a half that silver was likely to outperform on the upside. It definitely has. We think that trend will continue, but we think that both gold and silver are well positioned to move up from here in the near term. It looks like the next leg up are coming. Just moving some stuff around here on the screen. Uranium and copper are very good have started out 2011 very well. They're looking to perform very well throughout the year. They have strong supply and demand fundamentals on the on the supply side. Not enough investment for the past few decades. Not enough investment currently to fix those past problems or prepare for the future. This puts them in very good position to move up quite substantially in the coming years. In the case of copper, it is also a very good indicator of economics, and what it's telling us is that the the global economy, the global economic recovery is in solid shape. That we're seeing exceptional growth in the emerging economies led by China and India, and we're also seeing some improvement, reasons for cautious optimism in the developed economies as well. And so as the developed economies start improving, it will add pressure to the copper supplies and other commodities as well. And again, this adds to our confidence that why we're looking for that we feel. We also mentioned in our report in Outlook 2011 that we felt that the best place for investors to look for above average returns, much like the last decade, has been in commodities and resource stocks. Everything we're seeing at the start of 2011 suggests to us that trend is going to continue, and the last decade's been a very good performer for commodities and resource stocks, and it looks like the next decade will be as well. So now we're going to move on to our chat regarding a couple of resource companies. We're going to start out talking about Premier Gold Mines. On the disclosure, we are shareholders of the company, and they are also a banner sponsor on our website. As if you'd like to do some homework on them, you can find their banner on our website. Just click on that again. It's direct link to their website where you can go and find plenty of information about the company's projects, their news, and then some general information about the work that they're doing. And their website's a great place to do that. The past coverage, we started covering them in October the 3rd, 2006 in our Allenbury Reports email newsletter. That was our 9th edition. If you're watching this show on our website at allenburyreports.com, just look above me and you'll see a report section. In that report section, we have all of our past reports, and you can find that 9th edition. In fact, we actually started following Premier Gold before they were even Premier Gold. At one time, they were a spin-out from Wolfden Resources. Wolfden was one of our, what we call our Hall of Fame companies. We followed them early. They were ultimately taken over by a bigger company. But before they were taken over, they spun out their gold projects into Premier Gold. And so we've been following them formally in the email newsletter since the 9th edition, but we've been following their projects even before that. The past shows we've had them on November the 10th, 2010, October the 14th, September the 16th, July the 22nd, and April the 27th. Those are all in 2010. If you look above me at the shows section, you can find all of those past shows. We put the dates in there, a little overview of the show, and then a link to where you can go watch the shows. And their website is premiergoldmines.com. That's premiergoldmines.com. I'm now going to pull up their website. There's two news releases that we're looking for. One is on January 24th, 2011, and the other is on January the 18th, 2011. So I'm just pulling up their press releases. I'm going to start with the one on January 24th. Put on the glasses here so I can read that. The headline from that one is Premier begins focused Nevada-based initiative. They go on that they were pleased to provide an update on their Nevada-based activities, which in 2011 will form an important part of the company's overall strategy to establish and grow interest in world-class, safe, and accessible mining jurisdictions. Over the past several months, Premier has secured interest in three high-grade projects, which are outlined as follows. They mentioned Premier has commenced drilling at the high-grade 100% owned Saddle Gold Project. Two, Premier has made a strategic investment in Ashburton Ventures, Inc. And three, Premier has acquired by staking a new prospective project in Nevada. So they've got a couple of their key projects are in Ontario, in the Red Lake area and the Geraldton Beardsmore area, and now they're making a big push into Nevada as well. And we're going to talk about this a little more as we wrap up our chat regarding Premier. But we really like the push they're making into Nevada. Then in the press release, they give you some really good details about their Saddle Gold project. And you can find, and then they have some very good, there's actually a nice brief quote here from Ewan Downey, who's the president and of Premier, and he stated, and I quote, "Currently when investors think of Premier, very few think Nevada. We expect that this perception will change in the future as we grow our presence in one of the most prolific gold districts found anywhere in the world," end quote. Then later in the press release, they give you some good details about their investment in Ashburton Ventures and their new project staking. So there's a really good outline of their push into Nevada in that press release on January 24th. And so then I'm going to go back on their website and look for the January 18th, 2011 press release. In that one, the headline is Premier ramps up major 2011 exploration initiative. They go on that they're pleased to provide an update on planned activities for the company's 2011 exploration campaign, including 7 currently active or mobilizing drill programs. Drilling is now underway at Premier's wholly owned Saddle project in Nevada and at the Hard Rock project in Ontario. In the near future, Ontario drilling will also commence at the PQ North, which is in the Musselwhite district, and Rahill Bonanza in Red Lake, East Bay, also in Red Lake, Newman Madsen, also in Red Lake, and Red Gold, also in Red Lake project. Highlights for 2011 include more than 120,000 meters of planned drilling. Premier has begun a new chapter in its growth with 3 drill rigs activated at Saddle. Additional projects have been acquired in Nevada. An updated National Instrument 43-101 resource estimate for the Hard Rock project is expected in late Q1 2011. Drilling in Red Lake will focus on delineating new high-grade gold discoveries made at the Rahill Bonanza and East Bay joint venture projects in 2010. Goldcorp's high-speed tram could reach the Rahill Bonanza joint venture ground by late 2011, with drilling expected mid-year. PQ North drilling will test for mineralization along strike from the new Lynx Zone discovery at Goldcorp's Musselwhite gold mine. Premier enters into 2011 with more than 50 million in cash. There's a good quote again from Ewan Downey, who's the president and CEO of Premier, who said, and I quote, Premier experienced unprecedented growth in 2011, highlighted by ongoing exploration successes and new high-grade gold discoveries. This resulted in strong share price performance throughout the year. We expect 2011 to be no different and have approved the largest exploration budget in company's history. Our strategy is to maximize shareholder value by growing gold resources on numerous projects, is supported by no less than 5 active drill programs in the first quarter, end quote. And so after that quote in the press release, they give you some very good details about their Hard Rock project, their Red Lake projects, their Saddle project, in addition to what was in the other news release we talked about, and then the PQ North in the Musselwhite district. Lots of really great details in that press release on Premier's plans for exploration in 2011. So now we'll talk about why we like the company. They're a gold-focused company. That's one of the key things. All their projects are in mining-friendly regions. These regions that they're in, these countries and provinces and states that they're in are in areas with well-known geological regions. They're often the best place to look for a new mine is where there's an old mine. And in the mining business, they say that the best place to look for a new one is in the shadow of a head frame. A head frame is the building that hosts the hoist for underground operations. In fact, they've got a good picture of one on their website, and that's a major focus of the company. All of their projects that they look at are in these well-known regions where there's been past mining. They have a great portfolio of projects that they talked about in those press releases that I talked about. 2 areas where they have advanced projects is in Red Lake, Ontario, and Geraldton. Red Lake is one of our favorite gold camps. We've done really well with a lot of companies that we've picked in that area, and what we really like about is the high-grade nature of the deposits there. And they're planning on doing a lot of work, so they should have a lot to talk about in news, and hopefully we'll likely be talking about them on future shows. And so they've got a real good news flow, and we'll be talking about that a lot in the future. So the best place to start your homework on Premier is on their website that we mentioned earlier, premiergoldmines.com. And so now we'll move on to our second company. The second company we're going to talk about today is Candente Copper Corp. On the disclosure, we are shareholders of the company. Our past coverage of them started, we first started following them in our Allen Berry Reports email newsletter on May the 9th, 2006, which was our 7th edition. If you look above me at the reports section, you can find all of our past reports, including that 7th edition. You can either read it online or download it into a Word file, print it off, and read it at your leisure. We've had them on one of our past shows on November the 18th, 2010. Look above me at the shows section and you'll find that November 18th show. Their website is candentecopper.com. That's CANDENTECOPPER.com. They've had a couple news releases out of late. One was on January 27th and the other was on January 18th. Those are the ones we're going to look for on their website. So I'm just pulling up their website right now, and we're looking for their news release section. I'm going to first start with their home. On their home page, under their investors, you would look for, where is it here? I'm just trying to find their news section. Oh, gosh. Corporate. Oh, sorry, it's under their corporate section, news releases in English. And then we're looking for, gotta go back here. The first one we're looking for is on January 27th. The headline from that is Candente Copper increases previously announced bought deal to $26 million. Basically, they started out by doing a bought deal financing for $20 million. They've now upped it to $26 million Obviously, that's because there's a strong demand for that financing, and they give you all the details in that January 27th press release. Now I'm going to go back. The key one that we're looking for is from the January 18th press release. The headline from that one is Candente Copper announces positive pre-feasibility progress report for the Cañariaco Norte copper project. The subheadline is net project value of US 960 million and IRR of 17.7%. After-tax long-term copper price used was US $2.25 per pound and 8% discount rate. Copper production to average 262 million pounds per year over mine life of 22 years. They go on that Candente Copper announced receipt from AMAC Americas Limited of a positive pre-feasibility progress report for its 100% owned Cañariaco Norte copper project in northern Peru. Based on the project's annual production of 262 million pounds of copper, 39,000 ounces of gold, and 911,000 ounces of silver over a mine life of 22 years. Then they have some key parameters of the pre-feasibility progress report, and there's quite a few of them, and so we'll try to get through a bunch of them. After-tax net project value of 960 million. That was in the subheadline above. Also, the IR internal rate of return of 17.7%. They also highlight that it's highly leveraged. The Cañariaco is highly leveraged to higher copper price. Payback of pre-production capital in 3.1 years. Cash operating costs of 99 cents US per pound. Very good number there, including all on-site and off-site costs. Net of byproduct credits. Average metal production of 262 million pounds of copper per year. As they mentioned earlier, 39,000 ounces of gold and 911,000 ounces of silver. Average production of 306 million pounds of copper per year for the first 3 years of production. Pre-production capital cost of 1.437 billion based on leased mining equipment, including contingency of 20%. All-in capital cost of 1.565 billion based on leased mining equipment, including working capital, life of mine sustaining capital and closure cost. Processing rate of 95,000 tons per day. Waste to ore strip ratio of 0.98 to 1. Very good number there. And then they give you a bunch more details. I'm going to move on to the, and there's really good information there, and we highly recommend people to look over the press releases. There's a good quote from Sean Waller, who's the president of Candente, and he stated, and I quote, "We are very pleased with the results of the Cañariaco Norte pre-feasibility progress report. The work completed by Candente and AMAC during 2010 certainly demonstrates the very attractive technical and financial parameters of the Cañariaco Norte project. With a significant increase in the size of the resource announced late last year, a solid scope of development and robust financials, Cañariaco Norte is rapidly evolving into one of the premier undeveloped large-scale copper projects in the world, with the added benefits of being located in Peru," end quote. And then they give you a bunch more details about the work, and again, that's all in that press release on the company's website. So that's all the key information we wanted to talk about from that press release. Some of the reasons that we like Candente is they're a copper-focused company. As they mentioned, they're in Peru. They have a very large resource of copper and includes also benefits from gold and silver as well. We're very bullish on copper, but finding large-scale undeveloped projects in mining-friendly jurisdictions are hard to find, and that is exactly what Candente has with their Cañariaco project in Peru. Major consumers of copper are well aware of the supply challenges. So projects like Cañariaco are becoming more attractive not only to investors but also to companies that are larger mining companies that are looking to develop, or also end users that are looking to secure future copper production supplies. And so we think that demand for these kind of projects is going to get better and better as we go forward. And so Candente definitely has a very attractive project at Cañariaco. Great place to start your homework. Again, as always, we highly recommend you check out their website. All the companies that we talk about on the shows, check out their website at candentecopper.com, and they have plenty of information on there, so you can try to understand what they're doing at their Cañariaco project. So that's a wrap on our In the News show today. Before closing, we'd like to stress that this show and our reports are for information purposes only. We aren't making buying or selling recommendations. It's important for you to do your own research and homework, and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. We're always trying to grow our audience, and any efforts you make to let your friends that follow the markets know about our website, our reports, our shows, would be greatly appreciated. We also greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch the shows. We know that everybody is very busy these days, and we strive to produce a show that saves you time and, most importantly, brings you helpful, high-quality information. Our next show will be another In the News show that we're planning to do tomorrow. And we'll be discussing recent developments from some resource stocks with high-quality projects. The best way to find out about all the work that we do is to subscribe to our email. There's no charge to be on our email list. If you look above me on the website, you'll see a subscribe button. Just fill out the information, and there's again no charge for that, and we'll add you to our email list. We hope you can join us for our next show, and you can find all of our work on our website at alanberryreports.com. We hope to see you soon. Have a great day.